Naomo had always known Jinshi was hiding something. His face too perfect, his voice too polished. And yet he never spoke of who he really was. But lately the cracks were beginning to show. It started with a simple task. Each ministry taking turns to show their loyalty through elaborate displays of food and festivities. This time it was the Ministry of Revenue. Just him. The room was silent, heavy with the scent of sandalwood, and Jinshi didn't speak for a long time. He stood by the table, staring at his hands. Finally, he turned. "You're very observant," he said. Naomo didn't answer. He took a step towards her and she flinched. He stopped. "You've been wondering who I really am." Again, she said nothing. Then he gave a tired smile. "Good. Curiosity is useful, but dangerous." He sighed and looked away. "I'm not who you think I am." She wanted to ask more questions, but he raised a hand. "That's all for tonight. You may go," and just like that, he dismissed her. No answers, just more questions. But one thing was clear, the man called Jinshi was not who he claimed to be. And the closer Mao got to the truth, the more dangerous her world became. And while Jinshi was in charge of collecting the taxes that made the empire run, he wasn't known for enjoying such trivial matters. But this time he volunteered, and when he did so, no one dared ask why. "Just do this," he told the servant assigned to him. "And don't bother me again unless I call for you." That was 2 days before the event. When he called for Mao, she found him poring over long lists, measuring out spices, tasting dishes. He was in the kitchen. And while he seemed to know a lot about cooking, Mao couldn't help but feel he was too involved. There was a tightness to his movements, an alertness in his eyes. And then she saw it. When he tasted a certain sauce, he winced, just barely, but enough for her to notice. It was a spice that should have been common. It shouldn't have been a problem. But Jinshi looked pale for a moment, his eyes squeezed shut. When he recovered, he quickly waved the servant away and poured himself a cup of tea. But something was off. So later that day, when the kitchen staff left, Mama returned with a small bowl of the leftover sauce. She brought it to her own quarters and tasted it carefully. The ingredients were safe. They were common. Nothing was laced with poison. But there was a small trace of something else, something odd, an allergen. And not just any allergen. One common in high-ranking noble households, something called white blight. It was extremely rare for common folk to have it. If they did, they wouldn't survive long because the only treatment for it was a constant intake of antidotes. A mild dose could lay one up for days. A strong one would put them in a coma. And if they woke up, they would need lifelong treatment. And here she had unknowingly served it to Jinshi. He must have sensed that because that was when he began acting strangely. Was he sick? Had he been sick? Had she almost killed him? Panic welled up in her throat, but she pushed it down. She needed to think clearly. What did this mean? Why was Jinshi here? And why did he seem so afraid of this spice? Who was he? These questions burned in her mind, but she had no answers. A request to assist in overseeing the preparation for a seasonal banquet, something far beneath Jinshi's station. Yet he insisted on handling it personally. When the emperor hosted banquets, it was the 6 ministries of the palace that were in charge of planning them. That night, Jinshi summoned her again. She found him alone in his chambers. No attendants, no guards.